Hello everyone. Today we will be talking about mass media and social movement. This presentation is presented by Passant, Madonna, Sally, and Amy. Let's first start to understand what is social movement. Social movements are purposeful, organized groups striving to work towards a common goal. These groups might be attempting to create change, Occupy Wall Street, for example, in Arab Spring, to resist change. And by change we mean anti-globalization movement, or to provide a political voice to those otherwise, like for example, civil rights movements. Social movements create social change and can occur on the local, national, or even global stage. Types of social movements. We have the reform movements, revolutionary movements, religious redemptive movements, alternative movements, and resistance movements. The reform movements seek to change something specific about the social structure. The revolutionary movements seek to completely change every aspect of the society. Religious redemptive movements are meaning-seeking, and their goal is to provoke inner change or spiritual growth in individuals. Alternative movements are focused on self-improvement and limited specific changes to individuals' beliefs and behavior, while resistant movements seek to prevent or undo change to the social structure. Now let's move to media. First of all, we begin by defining media. Media is the plural form of medium, meaning a channel of communication to carry a message to a mass audience or a targeted group. There are different types of media. We have the traditional media and the social media. Traditional media includes television, radio, newspapers, magazines, newsletters, tax press, and other print publications, while the social media terms used to describe the new generation of digital computerized or networked information and communication technologies. This includes and may take different forms, including internet forums, blogs, wikis, podcasts, picture, music, and video sharing. Examples of social media applications are Google Groups, Wikipedia, MySpace, Facebook, YouTube, Flickr, and Twitter. The relationship between media and social movement. Mass media are relevant to the study of social movements because they carry movement ideas to a broad audience and give activists leverage in institutional and political processes. More specifically, mass media are important to social movements because they legitimate movement issues, provide social movements an opportunity to shape public understanding of political problems, and mobilize a broader public to action. Mass media coverage legitimates movement issues and claims. New media, for instance, set the public agenda by first choosing what events and social problems are relevant to the citizenry and then focusing public attention on these events and problems. Media coverage of social movement ideas and organizations is legitimatizing because it indicates to the broader public that a movement represents credible claims.
Okay, let's now understand the impact of journalism as one of the mass media tools on social movements.
After we understand the definition of each mass media and the social movement, and then we went through the relation between the mass media and social movement, let's now understand the impact of journalism as one of the mass media tools on social movements. The impact of journalism on social movements is clearly shown through newspapers. Newspapers are an important source for reporting all the happenings in the world in a very economical way. Also, it can influence the viewpoint of the individuals living in a society. Sometimes the effects created by these newspapers are positive, while in some situations they are negative. One of the great examples that the press was clearly shown during the revolution played an important major role in spreading the revolutionary ideas, like the France Revolution till the most recent revolutions. Also, the universal and persuasive powers of the press helped to translate the complex revolutionary happening to the public. How? By reporting isolated assembly speeches through strong visuals, and it can affect on representative politics. This slide shows different examples on how different newspapers covered the Egyptian Revolution on front page. Nearly every paper that led with the resignation of Egypt presidents illustrated the story with pictures of different citizens celebrating in the streets of Cairo, which gives a sameness to today's front pages. Although journalism and newspapers have a great effect on covering the social movements event, but sometimes media framing can has a great effect on social movements. Let's now understand how media framing can play a big role in social movements. But first, let's understand what is frame. To frame is to select some aspects of a perceived reality and make them more salient in a communicating text in such a way to promote a particular problem definition, moral evaluation, or treatment recommendation. Framing then involves journalists making judgments about a subject that then guide the selection of information for publication and its presentation. This slide shows some examples on how journalists use framing during the Egyptian Revolution. Like on Twitter and Facebook, they used hashtags mentioning political stuff, and also the news channels like BBC and Al Jazeera, as Al Jazeera and BBC portrayed the conflict and attribution of responsibility frames, blaming that Mubarak for political unrest. Also, they framed the revolution in terms of its causes, like Egypt's political future and the Muslims' Brotherhood role. With other media coverage, European attributed the revolution to Mubarak role. Opinion writers also debated that the threat to the Muslim Brotherhood posed to Egyptian and US interests. Scholarship regarding the revolution has focused on how foreign news sources and social media have framed revolution events, but the framing of Egyptian revolution participants in US news sources has yet to be fully explored. This shows how different newspapers, how different channels, mass media channels, covered the Egyptian revolution on different angles and according to their opinions and according to their views, and they became subjective instead to be objective.
Journalism versus social media on social movements. Social movements have been implemented in many different forms and on different levels in order to transform societies. New studies are now looking at social media as a tool in shaping social movements' agendas and aiding collective action both online and offline at the local or global level. The introduction of social media, such as blogs, Facebook, and Twitter, as a new way to social network, has become the new catalyst tool in the formation of social movements. Advantages of social media over journalism. Unlike ordinary media sources, social media have created massive networks that not only connect the entire world, but also give people the ability to easily publicize opinions at a low cost and to the speed and scale of group coordination. It also compensates for the disadvantages of undisciplined groups by reducing the costs of coordination. Ordinary media is manipulated by power. Power holders are the media gatekeepers and the news framers, unlike social media, which is considered the voice of the voiceless. The internet and mobile technology are some of the most important ingredients changing the way news are created and disseminated today.
For instance, in social movements such as the one seen in the Egyptian Revolution, the wireless communication tools were the prevalent mobile technological devices being used in capturing videos and photos at the events that aimed to make a shift in the government by providing unbiased and unedited content to the public. News are also portable due to cell phones. Personalized because internet users have customized profiles on topics that is of particular interest to them. And participatory because users have contributed to the creation of news, comments, or its dissemination via Facebook and Twitter. The most fascinating ability of social media is that it enables ordinary citizens to connect and organize themselves with little to no cost. Social media websites such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and the various online blogs have arguably given a voice to individuals that otherwise would not be heard. Social movements are generally initiated by the youth, who represent a high percentage of the world's population, according to UN reports, and at the same time are the efficient users of the social media. That's why social media is considered effective in social movements compared to regular media sources.
Young people have helped drive social movements around the world. From protesting the established order to furthering new ideas, youth are often on the front lines of political and social transformations, hoping to make the world a better place. Reasons for youth participation in movements vary. Compared to adults, youth often have larger social networks, which can serve as conduits for the transmission of ideas and mobilization. Young people are also more inclined to be innovative in their use of media. They may adopt the latest technologies to help spread their message and mission. Also, youth may have more time and bandwidth than older generations, giving them a greater chance to take risks and fight the status quo. Altogether, reasons such as these make youth participation in social movements an incredibly powerful element.
Finally, thank you so much for your participation and listening to the presentation.